Hello, this is Scott. So in this video, I'm going to cover hands-on data science, essentially an overview into the platform. This is, just so that I don't forget it, this platform is very lightweight. Say a middleweight web server is all it requires for the system. And everything is done in cluster. So we push the workload to your Hadoop or Spark or whatever big data cluster that you have within your facility. So that's kind of the background there. I wanted to lead with that so that I didn't forget it. So on this homepage, right? It's very visual. This is a highly collaborative, interactive system. I can see the snapshot, the number of workspaces I have. I have 312 people with permissions on this server, the number of work files, etc. So as an administrator, I like to be able to track my progress there. I can see the workspaces here, and I can, drop down for just my workspaces, or I can open it up to all workspaces. I can see there that the number of members in the workspace, the work files, the number of data sets, and insights provided to that particular workspace. Then I can also see that here, the activity, so this is across time, and I can change that time view, but say the last week, I can look at, again, as an administrator, I might see that this is interesting to see the activity in this dock manufacturing yield management improvement project that's ongoing. The recent activity, and again, I can make this for all activity or the insights that people are commenting upon here. And then I can look at my recent work files specifically to me. I opened this file up 9 minutes ago. I can look at this Jupyter Pi notebook that wasn't open. It was open 2 months ago. So very nice, crisp interface into data science. So the first thing we'll do is we'll highlight some of the points here, and then we'll go into the visual programming interface, and I'll show you that. But the first thing is touch points. So I've got several touch points here. Let's go into this Bank of Tibco credit scoring for new accounts. A touch point is basically a model that has, or a work, actually even a workspace, a workflow that's been created with the end result being a predictive model. So this is a credit scoring model for new accounts. And as an end user, if a data scientist or someone makes this available to me, all I need to do is go in and fill out these parameters. These are the 4 inputs, and run. And then if there's back source data that needs to be added, recent customer activity. So any sort of back-end data is merged in with the 4 data values that I'm inputting here. I click run, and then I get a credit score for that new account. So the next point that we'll look at is workspaces themselves. And these workspaces can be public or private. You can see here that I actually have a private workspace with the lock on it. But these are public spaces. Also, you can see the owner of these. You can define the stage. You can see here this has been deployed. This is act. These are defining stages. You can also see that I can address these by tags as well. And so those are searchable within the platform as well. If I go to data, you can see the data sources available to me. So I have some JDBC drivers into a database available to me. I've got some Green Plum, some Impala, some PostgreSQL, some Spotfire Cloud access. I have my Hadoop clusters, Cloudera, Hive, Amazon EMR. I've got Hortonworks data platform here. So all of those are available. And then I can see in the people tab that, you know, I can see what roles are necessary, or if I'm an administrator, if someone doesn't have the authority, I can go through and check in on that. Very collaborative in that you don't have to have just admin and data science. So this is an example of a business user that has the role of a business user, and these can be set by the organization themselves. So let me do a top level search as well. So if I do, let me show you a tag where if I put in science, it's going to not only display titles with science in them or even columns with science, but it's going to display me because I am a data scientist. That's a tag that I have set, and then the roles and everything that I have there. So let me also use a top level search for my last name, and I show up here some of the things that I've input with my last name in here, of course, as well as my tag. Let me jump into one of these. I'm going to go to this credit scoring project here. So in the overview, I can add members to this workspace. I can update the settings. I can add a sandbox. I can do a lot of different things. I can add tags, notes, insights, etc. on this workspace. So you get the idea there. Under the data sources, I can see the different data sources that are available here. And then really where the meat is where these work files are. So these can be virtually anything. So I've got a couple of things here. AM is a data science model. PFA is an entire flow that's captured as a PFA document that can be deployed directly. The AM can be deployed as well. All these three are deployment options, right? So a data science model, a PFO, which is an entire flow, or a PMML model, which is the model itself. And these can be pushed off to database or other things we'll talk about in just a second. And then I have these different flows as well. Oh, by the way, let me just mention before we get into that these documents, these work files can be anything, right? So they could be, you know, Python or Jupyter notebooks. They could be PowerPoints. So anything specific to this project, I can put a file out there that would be worthwhile to the project members and for tracking. So I can do that. Okay. So let me open up a file, and you see here this visual flow that I've been talking about. And let me walk you through this panel. So first off, let me open the flow. I'm just viewing right now. So if I open the flow itself, then I get to interact with data science. So along the left here, I have all of these built-in operators that are available to me. You can see there's quite a few, everything from data sourcing to joins, data manipulation, data cleansing, you know, model building, a very rich set of operators that exist. I can add notes for members of my team along the way to again, as a collaborative effort. And by the way, we have an SDK, a software development kit that can be used, and you can write your own nodes as well. So you're not limited to the nodes that are just here, but you can write your own nodes. In addition, as I said, you can run Python or Jupyter within these workspaces, right? And you can use R as well. And you have a lot of different coding options there, but just to throw out a couple, R and Python are big in use today. And then the data sources, I can click over there, and then I can open up these different data sources and see what is there underneath here. Let's just go to data sets, and then I can see all of the different data sets that I can access here as well. Okay, so that's kind of on the left side panel there, some of the operators that are available. Let me show you a couple other things real quick. Again, this is not really a full demo on any particular functionality. It's just really an overview, and I will be doing a series of these where I do jump down into the functionality and different use cases, different industries, and different methods and that you want to or that you can use within data science. So if I double click on credit, I should get the information about this particular data set. And also what I can do is I can get information and I can run data directly to that node by right clicking, right? So if I wanted to, let's say, I can preview the data set. It'll give me a list of the raw data. I can create, scatter plots. I can visually inspect the data. Let me just do something real simple. Let me just grab summary statistics, and let me just grab a couple of columns out of that data set. And I can see here that I've got delinquent. Here is a text field, and ooh, interesting. There's 477 null values. I wonder what that's about. And I can inspect the data very easily. Again, with the right click, I have a lot of different options. I can do correlations and everything with a single click of the mouse. I can also create these summary nodes, and here I'm just doing summary statistics, and I just tell it what columns I want. I want all columns here. If I had a group by, I would group by, and I can do grouping statistics as well. Lots of different options here. Again, this is not detailed. This is just a quick overview. So we'll run that. Again, note, this is not running on my machine. This is actually running in the cluster. So that is the difference there. Okay. I have, I have the ability to look at what's present now in that node now that it's been run, and I can see here that here's my different. Again, I went through all the columns, some statistics here. For the continuous statistics, I've got actual numbers in, and then for the text ones, I get NAs for the median and all of that. But I did get the null value again. This delinquent has 477 null values. So I'm kind of curious about that. So one of the things that I can do is I can actually send a note with the note function within data science, has a note capability. Let's suppose that I did that, ask about that, and then I were to receive that, hey, that's actually a new count. So it's not just missing data. It actually has some logic to it. And then I could do something like this replace nulls operator, right? I could recode that with a new. So that gives you a little bit of idea with the flow of these operators and what you can do. And we can join data together. Here's a join operator. Let me just walk through the rest of the flow for keeping this brief. I can do frequencies. Again, I have a whole host of operators that I can bring into the flow as I go along, and as an analyst or data scientist, what I want to do. I can create these nodes. I can go in. I get the data the way I want it. Essentially, here what I'm doing is I'm taking out, based upon that null value, the new accounts versus the ones that are not new. I'm going to train up on the existing counts, right? And I'm going to train up logistic and a random forest model. I'm going to compare those with the receiver operating curve. And then I'm going to look at the output between those two models. Here, I can tell you that it turns out the logistic regression model worked better. And then I can come up with the predictor node, hook up my new accounts, and I'll get a prediction for all 477 of those previous null, those new accounts, and I'll have those scored out. So very, very easy to create these workflows. Also very sustainable versus having lots of different code fragments in an open source like R or Python. As a manager, I sleep better at night knowing that my programming is in a visual flow. Most of it, or it can be, actually validated procedures in data science, or even those code elements that could be a Python node in here. At least it's wrapped, and I know, and I, as someone that's not a Python programmer, can understand what that's doing in a workflow. So much more sustainable than having a unicorn that knows just some scripts. But I'm a unicorn, and I like this easy flow as well because it makes me more productive. So let me talk quickly about some code some deployment options. Obviously, I can set this thing in to bring in these new accounts data. I can run ad hoc. I can create a job. It's an executable process. It contains, a number of tasks such as importing data and then executing a workflow. I can build an engine. Those are real-time services that perform a single sampling, scoring using a model description like a PFA document. I can run those. I can run jobs via an engine at lights out. I can deploy these models to a database, have it run actually on top of the database without Spotfire. Spotfire data science in the middle at all, and then I can create those touch points that we've seen as well. So let me wrap up there, and let me just leave with a comment where we're going and how to contact me. So this time we covered, and it's SDS00. We covered data science hands-on and overview. The next time we'll cover SDS01, and that'll be a dive into the data flow for credit. In other words, a deeper dive into what we just covered. I mean these to be probably a little shorter than they were this time. So brief topics, specific, and you can reach me at either one of these emails, scott.burke@hotmail.com or sburke@tibco.com. I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks.